A hotly contested women's volleyball match between BYU and Duke gained national notoriety when it was reported that a BYU fan was yelling racial epithets at Duke players during the game. Now, if that happened, obviously that's awful and condemnable. But now there are questions about the story. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it does mean the media should have been and should be asking more questions rather than just stating it as a fact. The question is whether the story fit too nicely into a perfect liberal media narrative. CNN's Brianna Keeler introduced a segment about this story a week ago, Monday, as a fact.
A Division I volleyball match at Brigham Young University turned really ugly when black players from Duke University endured racial slurs from at least one fan in the crowd.
And it wasn't just Keeler who reported the story without question. ESPN shared an interview with the Duke volleyball player who claimed to be on the receiving end of the hate speech, writing, quote, Duke volleyball player Rachel Richardson endured racial abuse from fans, plural, in a match versus BYU over the weekend. USA Today Sports was even more declarative, tweeting a column that read, quote, a young black woman named Rachel Richardson is a victim, but she's more than that. She's a hero surrounded by all the people who failed her. And MSNBC, with a headline, quote, the racism on display at Brigham Young fits a historical pattern. Anyone who followed this story and how it was portrayed by the national media were left to believe that a Duke player was repeatedly called the N-word during a competitive volleyball match, possibly by multiple people. No questions asked. It happened, they said. And one thing that is a fact is that a fan was identified and banned indefinitely from all future BYU athletic events. But this is the problem with no due process. It's now not at all clear exactly what happened, and the vast amount of reporting and hot takes that followed suit failed to include key details that now could call the entire episode into question. For example, the Salt Lake Tribune reported last Tuesday that a campus police investigation found, quote, the fan who was banned by BYU does not appear to have yelled slurs at volleyball match, campus police say. The report noted that a BYU police officer was stationed near the Duke volleyball's team bench and was even directed to stand next to the fan who allegedly yelled epithets after it was reported, but didn't hear any racial slurs. Police report filed after the game, the officer said, quote, during the game and while I was standing on the sideline between the Duke players and the student section, I didn't hear or observe any inappropriate comments or language from the student section from where the alleged epithet came. The Deseret News on Wednesday also revealed further details that the fan who was banned, the one specifically identified by the players, was described by police as special needs, possibly autistic, and claimed he only said net as he subtly urged the opposing players to hit it into the net. Now, video of the entire match is online, and while it's hard to hear everything a player on the court would hear, we don't know exactly what was said. So let me be clear. I'm not saying that this didn't happen. I wasn't there. I'm a Duke alum. My bias is towards Duke. I want to believe the players. I'm not suggesting anyone intentionally made it up. But could they have been wrong about what they heard? Could the person identified have just been yelling net? The problem here is how the media ran with a story and claimed that something horrible and incredibly divisive happened at a major public sporting event. Except now there are questions. Maybe the story did just fit too neatly into the narrative to ask questions. Joining me now is someone who asks a lot of questions, the host of With the Benefit of Hindsight podcast and former senior columnist at Mediaite.com, which I founded, John Ziegler. John, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so from your perspective, where are we with this story now?
Well, we're in the stage where the news media is not going to admit that they were duped. And they were very clearly duped in this story because this story had all the elements of kryptonite for what I believe is a fundamentally broken news media. You have a story that involves race. You have a black female victim. You have Brigham Young seen as a white school that's Mormon. These all fit right into the prejudices of the news media, and it was a very easy, as you've already said, narrative for the news media to buy. Let's be very clear. Here's the number one fact about the N-word element of this story. There is not one person, including the volleyball player herself, Rachel Richardson, who was at the game, who has ever claimed on the record in public that the N-word was ever used. The N-word became a story because her godmother tweeted it. Her godmother was not at the game. This didn't even occur the night of the game. It occurred the next day. Richardson didn't make a statement till Sunday in which she referred to what she endured as racial heckling. Racial heckling, Dan, sounds a lot different than the N-word and sounds like something that a woke school like Duke might be teaching their young black students to believe any criticism from a white crowd might be perceived as racial heckling. And I do find it rather ironic that Duke, which got duped in the Duke lacrosse situation, as you well know, and is also famous for the Cameron Crazies, would be so willing to jump on the bandwagon here, and BYU deserves a lot of blame for immediately pleading guilty because they were afraid of the race mob. But that's what academia does whenever pressured by this situation.
So, but you would agree, right, that it's possible that this wasn't intentional, right? It's possible that this was a situation where no one was trying to dupe. It just sort of escalated and potentially, and again, we don't know this, but potentially got out of control.
It is my belief this was not a hoax. This was not Jussie Smollett. This was people all pursuing their own self-interest. By the way, the godmom, who has a series of racist tweets in her own background, is running for political office and has now shut down her Twitter feed. You haven't seen the news media report that at all, have you? So I don't believe this was a hoax. I believe this was a situation where everyone fit their own self-interest and a bad narrative got set in stone and it was wrong and the news media is broken.
And the media didn't ask questions.
Correct.
As you often criticize the media for not doing. John Ziegler, thank you for coming on the program. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.